For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter.
Hey, Craig, would you pass me that crawler over there? I need another chocolate crawler to go with my coffee here.
This chocolate crawler.
Well,
sorry,
don't touch it with your fingers. What are you doing?
I licked it so you couldn't have it anymore.
Well, there's this guy at the
No,
counter.
Ross, you don't need any more crawlers. You've lost all that weight. You don't want to ruin it.
Well, you're.
I will take this giant crawler bullet for you.
Hey, Craig, is that Andrew Hacksaw Hartland over there at the counter?
Oh my God,
Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on? What are you guys doing here?
We're just getting our usual Dunkin' Donuts. How about you? What are you ordering there?
It's just nice coffee,
No,
not too special. Actually, you have lost a lot of weight. I've been losing weight myself. I've been on a diet for about a year now.
Ooh,
so.
look at
How you
this.
doing? See that little virtual fist bump for dieting? There you go.
Boom.
Boom.
Very
That's what I'm
nice.
talking about. Cool. So you got to get the dietetic donuts then, the ones that have no calories. Those are the key.
Oh yeah, those are great. I love those.
Those are awesome. I wish they were a little more substance, but otherwise they're good. Hey Andrew, while we're here at Dunks, I just want to ask you. I've always been amazed at TempleCon. We first, of course, we got to know you through the show, but we first met you in person a lot with TempleCon. And one of the things when we first went there was I was blown away by the Warmachine presence, the Privateer Press presence in general at TempleCon. And over the years, as I've watched this thing, it seems to me to be this really major, like Privateer Press comes there every year and makes their first new product announcements anywhere else in the world at TempleCon, which is this relatively, I don't want to belittle it because it's a great convention, but kind of a small gaming convention in Rhode Island. So
yeah,
how did that
it's
all
crazy,
happen?
man. There's just been a long history there.
Yeah. So how did you and the crew there, A, get involved with TempleCon, and then B, start building it into this really one of the most amazing Privateer Press events in the country?
Well, it goes all the way back to 2005 when I first moved to New England. I'd moved from El Paso, Texas. I'd just gotten out of the Army, and I was looking for anything to do involved in gaming. I had been playing a little bit at Danger Planet in Waltham, Massachusetts.
Yeah. Great old store. Too bad they're gone, but that's a great store. Love that.
Yeah. And some of the guys there were talking. They said, there's supposed to be some guys running a Warmachine tournament in Rhode Island next weekend. And what do you guys think? You want to go? And I was like, well, I've never been to Rhode Island, but sure.
Yeah, right.
So a couple of us jumped in the car and drove down to the Holiday Inn in Providence. It's in the shadow of the convention center there in Providence. And, we got there and we kind of walked into this pretty small ballroom, and, they were like, welcome to TempleCon. And I was like, I thought this was a Warmachine tournament. And they're like, no, it's a full convention. And this is before I had kids, so my wife was with me, and she's like, oh, cool. There's actually something for me to do. And so she went off and played in the Monopoly tournament.
Oh, there you go. Wow, they're really
which is
breaking
brutal, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
Don't make any friends at the Monopoly tournament, I imagine.
It's got to be pretty hardcore. I would imagine so.
Oh, she won. She is
Did she really?
There you go.
See, we didn't know this about your wife, Andrew. So your wife is a tournament-winning Monopoly player, apparently.
Oh, yeah. She's
Okay.
got the trophy to prove it.
Okay, fair enough. I can't argue that.
But yeah, so we went in there, and we didn't know much beyond our store. So anybody that was having a tournament outside of our store, we were excited about, and that's where I met Paul Shoemaker, a.k.a. Snake Man.
Yes.
Back in the day, he was still running tournaments. And, we had a couple of tournaments. We had one on Saturday and one on Sunday. Probably had about 20 players each day, which was huge for them. Like, wow, 20 players is amazing,
Right.
So we had a good time, and we said, we will come back next year. And we went back the next year, and we were, a little more seasoned and had a few more connections, and the numbers grew a little bit. We were in the 30s or so. And, the other parts of the convention had grown as well. So By year 3, they decided we should move to a bigger ballroom, and we did year 3 in a single ballroom in the convention center in Providence. And by that time, I had kind of gotten into the press gang a little bit, and I was involved a little bit more. Paul and I had talked, as I was more of a player, he was more of a TO at that time, and I gave him the player's perspective on stuff, and we just kind of traded ideas, and the schedule evolved a little bit, and the community kept growing. And then the 4th year, we got to the Biltmore in downtown Providence. You guys ever been to the Biltmore? I don't remember if you were there at that point.
We went to I think it was the last year in the Biltmore, right, Craig? 2008, whenever that was.
Yeah.
No,
we went a couple times.
Yeah, so 2 years there. It was a beautiful hotel. I love that venue.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's a beautiful Art Deco style hotel in downtown Providence, which had McCormick and Schmick's as the restaurant downstairs.
Yep.
And that is what I miss the most because that place had a happy hour menu where everything was $1.
Nice.
Like sliders, chicken fingers, seafood, you name it. It was all. Hey, go back to the table, Lainey. You got to go back to Tabby's table.
She heard
kids are over there.
She heard $1
Mommy,
chicken
I gotta
fingers.
go.
She's in.
I'll be over there in a minute. I'm just talking to these guys, okay? But yeah, that was great. McCormick and Schmick's, they had a great bar and a happy hour and everything. And by that time, the 4th year, that's when we started getting the word out, and to farther reaches of the community. We actually started having the New Jersey SOBs showing up.
Oh yeah, Norbert and the crew there.
Norbert and the crew.
Yes.
We get Stubbs and all those guys.
Yep.
And we really made a connection that year. We kind of had that community connection. And, that's not just a TempleCon story. That's a story that any convention that's successful will tell you is once the groups start meeting each other and they start making friendships and having it be that annual get-together, and that social element is what really gets people coming back. And that's kind of what started to happen. We had people come in. We had the kid from Alaska.
I remember the kid from Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
He beat me my very first visit to TempleCon. I played him in the Endless War, and he totally decimated me with his Circle of Ouroboros list. But it was awesome because I'm like, dude, you're from Alaska in Rhode Island, and you just came here for a Warmachine event. That was awesome.
Yeah. It's crazy. And that's really what it comes down to is just word of mouth. And, if you've got people that enjoy themselves and they keep telling a friend and they tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends, then you just continue to grow. So we were at the Biltmore for about 4 years. We ended up, okay, Lainey, you got to go back to the table, okay? Man, I got to get the kid another donut. But anyway, by the end of the Biltmore, it was 2008, and we had not enough space. We're in the grand ballroom in there, and we were overflown. We had over 200 people, and we were like, wow, 200 people. This is insane. And the last couple of years,
200 people.
Biltmore,
This is just for the Warmachine event, right? The 200
correct.
people. Yeah,
right.
right. This isn't the whole term. This is just. I mean, the con itself is bigger than that, but just Warmachine, 200 people.
Right, exactly. So we started to gain some traction with Privateer Press themselves once they started hearing the numbers.
So how did that start? Did they reach out to you and just say, "Hey guys, I hear you have a lot of people showing up at this event," or what? How did that work?
It was a little bit of both because I had started working a little bit for them in their organized play, just helping them out with some stuff for documentation, things like that. And so, as that conversation was going on, I would mention TempleCon, and they go, "Oh, really? You got that many people? That sounds crazy. I mean, we don't even have that many people at Gen Con usually."
Right.
And I was like, "Yeah, you guys should come check it out." So they sent a couple people, Kevin Clark and Dan Brandt, both came out over a couple of years. That was the quartermaster at the time, volunteer coordinator, and Kevin was one of the rules guys, and they were just blown away. It's like, wow. This is crazy. And it's not just that the community for Warmachine was growing. It was also that the convention itself is just a blast. So the TempleCon motto is, this isn't a gaming convention. This is like a party with gaming. And that's kind of the vibe we go for everything that we run. Any event we have, we want to have fun first, and gaming is just the way we facilitate that. So once we moved on to the Crown Plaza, it exploded.
Yeah.
The Crown Plaza in Warwick, I mean, we were there from 2009 to present, so I've been there about 4 years. And in 2014, we had over 500 players for Warmachine, which is it's by far the largest Warmachine event in the world, and that's Privateer's doing that. They're coming in now doing their keynote presentation to kind of kick off their year for new products.
Yeah, for those who don't know,
that's their core audience.
Yeah, if you ever wondered why, for example, in February, all of a sudden your Twitter feed gets full of all these new announcements from Privateer Press, it's because they're having a live press event at TempleCon, kind of like other companies do at Gen Con, which, of course, Privateer is one there as well, but that's mid-year. You hear the newest stuff first at TempleCon itself, which just goes to show how significant this event you guys have slowly built up over the years has now become, if not the premier Warmachine and Hordes event in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we're very proud of it. We have a great community. And people that have not been to TempleCon, they go, what's it all about? And they talk to people who go, and they're like, it's just great. I mean, they have so much fun. It blows your mind. And the other stuff that's going on there at TempleCon is very cool as well. They've got a ton of interesting performance art type stuff. They've got, LARPers. They got board gamers. They've got Grant's arcade. It's just insane. Have you seen that arcade?
I don't everybody knows this because I follow Grant on Facebook too, and he's of course one of the founders of TempleCon. I don't know if everybody knows this, but he is a old video game arcade cabinet / game collector. That's his thing, and he restores them. So at TempleCon every year, he's got his all displayed there, and it's just fantastic to play these old, many original restored video games. It's really cool.
This year, when I walked in there, I literally had deja vu. I mean, I felt like I was a kid walking into the arcade when I was young. Crazy. It was crazy. I mean, it's just amazing the amount of work he has done. But there's so much cool stuff going on at TempleCon that it just creates an atmosphere that allows people to have a ton of fun. And the Warmachine crowd, they're a big part of that.
That's awesome. So what were some of the big challenges as it grew over the years, right? And the venue started to grow and your participation started to grow. What did you find you had to do? I mean, how do you manage a 500-person event, first of all, I guess? I mean, but how did you get there? I mean, what were some of the challenges as you grew from 30 people to 500 people?
Yeah, I mean, your skill set had to grow at the same time. It's not like you guys came with this big experience of running this stuff. It's like you must have adapted on the fly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of learning that went on. Essentially, you just have to have a good team at the core to manage it, and then you have to have volunteers. I mean, we could not do what we do without volunteers. We at any given moment probably have, 10 people sitting there running things, from software to event registration to just general oversight of logistics. We had to build all that terrain. We go to Paul's house on the weekend. Every year, 4 or 5 weekends a year, we're sitting in Paul's basement, building terrain, building tabletops, stop for a lunch break, eat some Thai food. That's a tradition.
Nice.
And then, we always say, one of these times we should play a board game or something. It never happens. But, we literally just build all that stuff, and you just continue to talk with each other about lessons learned, and you build your team. Over the years, you find who you can trust and to run certain things. And then, like any organization, as it grows, you have to just start delegating. So we're at the point now where Paul and Craig and I and now Sam we're the adult supervision. We're the general managers per se. Right. And then we have different people running all the different elements of the convention. And, it's also kind of a relationship building thing where the players well enough that, they're not just customers, they're friends as well. So people, you hear me get on the mic, I can talk specifically to anybody in the crowd. I know who they are, they know who I am. So that makes it a lot easier as well.
That's awesome. So just to get a feel for the logistics, I know, how many people do you currently have that involved in running the large event that it is today?
Well, the core team, New England Privateers, is myself, Paul, Craig, and Sam Butler. So there's 4 of us that put together the schedule, lay out all the logistics that are going to be required to make it happen. And then we put together a shift layout for every day. And you got to remember, TempleCon is 24 hours a day. So it's a 4-day event now. So that means from 10 a.m. on Thursday until 8 p.m. on Sunday. Every 4 hours, there's somebody on shift for whatever's going on. So that usually is 2 or 3 people per shift. I don't know how many shifts that is. Right. That's a lot of man hours. Right. So we probably have 50 or so volunteers that cycle through over the course of the convention. Plus, we're always coordinating with any vendors that are there in our area, plus Privateer Press, anything they need to do their presentation or any special events, plus Grant and Zyman. We're always checking in with them.
Right.
So, it's basically like, I don't know, there's probably a good 60 to 70 people that are involved in making it happen.
Wow. And how... That's the question I have, too, for you, because I know a lot of conventions... most conventions halls have some kind of thing going on all night, but typically the all-night stuff is player-driven after hours, if it were. But you guys have always had this... It never stops. There's literally round-the-clock events at TempleCon, and there's the one play all night where you get the T-shirt, but only if you're there, right?
Mm-hmm.
At like 2 in the morning, whatever it is. So how did that come to be? You just right from the beginning, we're going to have all-night tournaments because that's how we do? How did that start?
It was pretty much just a logistics thing where, people would say, what am I getting for my badge? What am I getting out of this? So if somebody wants to come and play in a tournament, they can go to a local store, pay their $10, play in a tournament all day, and they're done. So we said, well, we're going to do something where people feel like they're getting their money's worth if they're coming just for Warmachine. So, we've got our casual play system, which is great. But for our tournament players, if you're hardcore, 2 events or maybe 3, that may not be enough. Plus, we might have people, overlapping, and there might not be space for everybody just because of the number of tables we have. Mm-hmm. So it really was just a logistics-driven decision to say, we just need to create more opportunities for our players in the tournaments. And we said, let's do this, and went 24 hours pretty much like year 2. Wow. And we've just kept doing it from then on, and it's pretty popular. It's a limited group that does it, but I can't do it anymore. Back in the day, I used to do that stuff.
Well, I remember what you looked like the day after.
I know, right? It was kind of funny. You could always tell. And then there's the guys, because there'd be like a tournament on. I'm thinking of it when back on it was 3 days, right? So you'd have the all day Friday tournament, and then there'd be all night Friday night tournament. And then there'd be the all-day Saturday tournament, and then there'd be the Masters event on Sundays, right? And there would be guys who literally played in all of those.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Who just
definitely
almost didn't stop playing Warmachine for 48 hours straight, which, is insane. I don't even know how they're walking anymore.
Exactly.
Kind of reminds me of those guys in Korea that die once in a while playing StarCraft for too long straight. But it's awesome. I don't know how if you never had any of that happen, right? Everybody keeps hydrated and going, apparently.
I myself, back in the early days when I used to play a little bit more, I did one of those runs where I played all day Friday. I ran a tournament all night Saturday night. Yeah. Then I played in the hardcore tournament all day Saturday, and I won the event.
I remember that.
I remember that year.
But I have no memory of winning the event.
I remember that. You're like walking around, your eyes barely open, like, I won. We're like, how did you even do that?
Yeah, and I literally blacked out. I had no memory of it at all.
He wasn't saying I won. He was saying, they're telling me I won.
Some guy recorded something. I don't remember where it is or if I could find it anymore, but he interviewed me after that event, and I'm like, nope, don't remember any of that. So,
have you ever had a health issue with anyone from doing that too much, or is everybody kind of...
the worst you usually see is just somebody asleep on the floor in the hall, which is no bueno, but,
Right.
They're not going to die. They're just going to get mentioned as, look at that guy.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
He pictures on Twitter,
really
you laying on the floor, drool on the rug, otherwise you're fine.
Exactly.
Right. That's awesome. That's fantastic. It's just, I think it's fantastic. You guys have built this into something so special. Hey, so Lock and Load, I was kind of wondering, because it seems like now, like other venues have, like Lock and Load, for example, did a lot of the stuff you guys do inspire and inform some of the formats over there now?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, organized play is kind of my wheelhouse, and pretty much everything that has evolved in the Warmachine and Hordes convention community is in some way related to TempleCon, the formats that we run, and Eternal War, which evolved into Iron Arena, and the Steamroller format, which I've authored over the years.
Right.
So yeah, it's all related. TempleCon is pretty much the heart of Warmachine and Hordes, and I think that's reflected in the numbers that we get every year.
Yeah. And actually, in one of my strangest Andrew sightings ever was when they sent you to Adepticon as the lead scout.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
I was an infiltrator.
You were back when it was all GW. Still, it was like all of a sudden Andrew was like at my side with with the very first ever printing of Cutthroat Caverns and went, "Hey, you guys want to find a table and play a real game?" And it was like, "What are you doing here?
Shh! There's a heretic in the house.
Don't tell anyone."
Yeah.
What the hell is a Space Marine?
Oh no! I mean, I played 40K.
I know. I'm just.
But it was
exactly like that.
It was pretty much.
And Hank was the same way. Don't tell anyone Andrew's here.
Exactly.
It was like dun 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 dun.
Yeah. So that was basically, Andrew. It sounds like Privateer. It sounds like they've been very supportive of what you guys got, but also they reached out to you and actively, or you reached out to them, or you guys worked together to kind of actively build up what became a lot of what Privateer Press organized play is today, and then also leveraging you to kind of figure out, okay, this new venue, because I know Adepticon eventually reached out to the Warmachine community and said, hey, would you like to come here? And you were sort of the lead man on that based on a lot of your experience at TempleCon.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it's been a very successful relationship with Privateer, and it continues to grow. And it just goes to show that they're very grounded as a company, that they're willing to work with people in their player base and outside the company. If there's good ideas, they're early adopters on things, and it's shown. They've been very successful.
Cool. So what do you think? Have you guys figured out? Are you at a ceiling now at TempleCon in terms of how big this thing can get? Do you have bigger plans? 500 people at a whack sounds like it's. I don't know how it gets much bigger than that. Although I know at Adepticon they have events that are closer to 1,000 with the team tournaments type stuff. Are you guys thinking about those kind of things, or how do you think you can grow it even further?
Yeah, I mean, there's already a system in place. In my head already is you can easily do the same type of stuff that we're doing now, but break it into kind of a flights system where if we were to have a tournament going, instead of just having it be a 64-player tournament, would be 2 or 3 flights of 64. Mm-hmm. You can run it in the same time frame. It's just more tables and more space required, but I don't think it'd be that much more difficult. So I don't really think there's anything stopping us from growing, and potentially doubling in size in the next 5 years.
Well, I want to ask you this too. Today, how many tables worth of terrain do you guys have that you can cover for the TempleCon events?
Oh, it was crazy.
There's like 160 tables, so we covered them all, and we still had terrain available. I mean, we just need more space to put more tables.
Right. So now you officially have more tables than you have space. So it's time to get a new, grow the space.
Pretty much.
Sounds like. Great. That's awesome.
Wow.
Well, Andrew,
it's crazy that such a local little convention should grow to be such a huge part of the global scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about leadership, just like anything else in life. If you have somebody who's passionate about something and has the skills to make it happen, they're willing to cooperate with a good team and promote the hell out of it, you will succeed. It's been great.
Very cool. Well, Andrew, thanks so much for taking time out of your Dunkin' Donuts visit here with your daughter.
Yeah, no problem.
To enjoy a fine, sugary, low-calorie product.
Oh, yeah.
And also fill us in on the history of TempleCon, because I've always wanted to know how you guys built that up, because I think that's really an amazing story of just what a few guys who are just dedicated to a hobby can do and how they can impact the hobby as a whole. And you guys went from just having fun to really having a material impact in a very good way, in a positive way, on how the company itself presents and runs their formats and their events.
Yeah, it's been great, man. And, whatever comes next, it's going to be the same passion. We're all still totally excited to do this every year. So we look forward to growing even more.
Awesome. So Andrew, we're gonna have you back on the main show here in about a week. So we can talk to you about all kinds of other things you've been up to. But in the meantime, if someone wants to sync up with what you've been working on or any of your latest projects, where should they go on the internets?
You can look on CaptainCon.com. That's a venture we're working on right now. You can check out CaptainCon on Facebook. For me personally, I'm on Twitter at Hacksaw76 and on Facebook, Andrew Hartland as well. So check me out. Also, any forum anywhere, Hacksaw76. If you've got a game, I'm probably on there trolling around.
Sweet. Well, Andrew, Thanks again, and we'll have you on the main show. We're looking forward to chatting with you more in about a week.
Talk to you soon, Andrew.
Sounds good, man. Have a good one.
Enjoy that.
Bye.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.